It's a strange thing when you think about it. We're living longer than any humans in history, but our comfortable modern lifestyles, they might be the very things making us sick. So today, we're going to break down that crucial link between moving our bodies and our actual physical well-being.
It's this really fascinating and honestly kind of worrying paradox, isn't it? Our life expectancy has just skyrocketed, but so many of us are dealing with health problems tied directly to the way we live now. Comfortable, convenient, and a lot of the time, very, very still. So how on earth did we get here?
And that question, it really brings us to what you could call the modern paradox. This bizarre conflict between our longer lives and our surprisingly inactive day-to-day existence.
Okay, get this. Just about 150 years ago, back in the 1850s, the average person was lucky to even see their 50th birthday. Then, thanks to these incredible leaps in technology and industry, our lives got way better, and we started living way longer. But here's the catch. A huge side effect of all that progress is that we've pretty much managed to engineer physical effort right out of our lives. And the scale of this problem, it's just staggering. The World Health Organization says that a full 25%, that's 1 out of every 4 adults on the entire planet, isn't moving enough to stay healthy. We're talking billions of people here.
So what does this lack of movement actually do to us? Because here's the thing, being inactive isn't just some neutral state of not exercising. Nope, it's an active risk factor for a whole bunch of really serious health problems.
To really get this, let's jump back in time to one of the first studies that really sounded the alarm. It's this brilliant, super simple bit of research from the 1950s, and it's all about the workers on those famous double-decker buses in London.
So, the researchers looked at 2 very different jobs on the very same bus. First, you've got the conductors. They were always on the move, climbing up and down those stairs all day long. We're talking about 600 steps worth. And then, you had the drivers, who, just by the nature of the job, were sitting down for about 90% of their entire shift.
The results were, for the time, absolutely shocking. The active conductors had about half the rate of heart attacks compared to the drivers who sat all day. It was one of the first, clearest pieces of evidence that having an active job could literally save your life.
And this groundbreaking study, it helped give a name to what was going on: hypokinetic disease. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Hypo just means lack of, and kinetic means movement. So put simply, these are diseases that are literally caused by not moving enough.
And the list of these diseases, well, it's pretty serious. We are talking about the biggest health challenges we face today: heart disease, several kinds of cancer, obesity, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, which is brittle bones, and even major impacts on our mental health.
And the stakes here are incredibly high. Check this out. A huge study in California followed thousands of men for years, measuring how fit they were. The results were crystal clear. The least fit guys were nearly 4 times more likely to die from any cause than the most fit guys. 4 times. That is a massive, massive difference.
Okay, but here is the really good news. If being inactive is like a poison, then movement is the medicine. And it's honestly one of the most powerful medicines we have.
So what does this medicine actually do? What are the real science-backed benefits you get when you start building a little more activity into your life?
Well, the amazing thing about physical activity is that its benefits aren't just in one little area, like your weight or your heart. It's more like a positive domino effect that touches pretty much every single system in your body, and just as importantly, in your mind.
Let's just run through the whole spectrum here. First up, you get major disease prevention. Being active dramatically cuts your risk for huge killers like heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Then there's just your everyday function. It helps you maintain a healthy weight, it makes your bones stronger, and it improves your balance, which is so important as we get older. And finally, there's your mental well-being. It's a proven way to sleep better and to reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. It really is a total upgrade for your body and your mind.
All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's get into the how. What's the actual prescription for living a healthier, more active life?
The World Health Organization has laid out some really clear guidelines for adults. The foundation, the starting point, is to get between 150 and 300 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise every week. We're talking about things like going for a brisk walk, a bike ride, or a swim.
But, cardio isn't the whole story. The WHO also says we should be doing muscle strengthening activities, like lifting weights or even just using your own body weight for exercises on at least 2 days every week. And what's so great about these guidelines is that they're truly designed for everybody. There are specific recommendations for kids, for older adults, for pregnant women, and even for people with chronic health conditions. The core message is totally universal. Moving more and sitting less is good for everyone, no matter how old you are or where you're starting from.
And that right there, that brings us to what might be the most empowering message of all. You do not have to become a marathon runner overnight, because every single move you make counts.
This might be the most important takeaway, and it comes straight from the World Health Organization. Replacing sedentary time with physical activity of any intensity provides health benefits. That word any, that's the key. It means taking the stairs instead of the elevator counts. Getting up to stretch every hour counts. A short walk on your lunch break. It all adds up. It all makes a real positive difference.
So the final question isn't about some massive life overhaul. It's much, much simpler than that. Just looking at the rest of your day, what's one small move you can make right now to invest in your own well-being?